Alright, when last we left off, let me go ahead and bring him back too. The Dragonkin looks over at Fargus and says, "That sounds like a druidic name. My best guess would be to visit the Sylvan Sanctuary on the outskirts of town, or rather, the metropolis, and the Dragonkin will reach into his cloak, unfurl basically a map that looks similar to this, and point to, or rather drag a claw around this location, which you can see on the Drakkenhall map.
Alright.
Very grand, thick area of trees. Would be difficult to miss.
Ah, sounds wonderful.
The Dragonkin will furl up the map and put it back in his cloak.
Are there any particular places you would recommend that we, as new sweets, as you put it, should probably not go?
The brow of the Dragonkin twitches and says, "The entire Blue City. But you're already here. If you would like my help as a guide, perhaps it would be best if... Your order gave me no indication of what it was that you wanted from here. I cannot give you advice or lead you anywhere without..." The creature offers a shrug of sorts.
Looks to Leon, says, "Seems you might have to tell him who we're looking for."
The creature shakes his head and says, "Well, perhaps not that. I don't know if I'd be able to help you with specific people, but perhaps a general concept of what it was you were looking for or what you hope to do." I'm a native to the Blue City, but I don't know whether I'd be able to track down specific people for you. Though I do know a number.
Well, general sightseeing might be pleasant.
Let's see. The Dragonkin wheels to look at Thomas and says, "My name is Genzeros. If you're looking for sightseeing..." Dragonkin taps a thoughtful talon to its chin. "Well, there's the Tower of the Blue, the magnificent and powerful Imperial Governor, who rules over us all benevolently. All hail her might and wisdom." Gesturing to the tower. "You should stay away from there, as best as you can. If you're looking to socialize with other sweets travelers such as yourselves, then you could venture to Sweet Hall and the Rack, which is nearby." He'll unfurl his map, point out those locations. You've already heard about those from your limited experiences. There's the Slave Market, if you are interested in that sort of thing. It is down one of the main avenues near the coast. There, of course, is also the Goblin Market, which is on the other side of the Saltside districts. You have the Beast Market towards the northern road, if you're more into acquiring animals, perhaps to trade. There are the numerous districts of Rubble City. There's, if you're interested in acquiring knowledge best forgotten, Madman's Alley, though it is very much whispered that those who venture there soon become one of its denizens. Those would be the premier locations. If you're looking for something a bit more specific, perhaps a more permanent place to stay where you're outside of prying eyes, I could perhaps help you with that too.
That would be good, I think.
Genzeros looks over his shoulder and hunches in a bit closer and says, "Well, if you're looking for a place with as few eyes as possible, then you would wish to head towards the ruins. Now, I don't know you for, so I'll provide the information to you as best I can, so that you may make a selection. The ruins are overrun by constabulary gangs, local law enforcement, essentially. When their effectiveness varies. And there are, of course, plenty of other gangs as well. I was formerly a part of one, until I joined, or rather saw the light of tomorrow. Of the gangs I do know, there are 2 small regions which you could perhaps move yourselves into. One of them would be a bit closer to here, a battle-torn area of the ruins controlled by a gang of hobgoblins known as the Hallow Talons. They have recently come into conflict with other gangs. Not too familiar with them, and I do believe other constabulary gangs as well, and as such their numbers have been greatly diminished. Their gang, I don't think, constitutes that many members, and if you easily killed them, you could take over what rubble they have in the ruins. That would certainly be a direct approach. As far as I can recall anything about their leader, he's not one for diplomacy or seeing the reason of anything. Alternatively, if you're looking for a more secure location, a bit further away from the Tower of the Blue, one in a less war-torn area, and one where you might not even have to fight for it, so long as you've got the coin, I've heard that Rylan Witt, the leader of the Blood Drop crew, is looking to move out of Blue City. He's grown fat off of raiding trade, and who the hell knows what else the Blood Drop crew do. And considering how he is one of the few gangs to legitimately own the land, deed and all straight from the tower, he actually does have the authority and capability to not just unofficially grant you something, but officially grant you it as well, providing you could pay his fee, which I'm not familiar of. I've never asked.
Well,
Interesting
I
selection.
for one would certainly prefer legitimate business over having to fight someone for a bunch of ruins.
Well, we can talk about it on the way.
Have you heard of a concept called the Four?
The Dragonkin narrows his eyes and says, "That I can't say I would know anything credible about it. The only thing I know of in a number such as that would be the 3. I can't think
I had
of
heard.
any gang or constable unit or any sort that would call itself the 4. It would be a paltry imitation of the 3 and prone to ridicule, if not death."
Not a good name, then, I take it.
I would
Looks
not
to the other
think
3
so.
members. We shall have to find another one.
The Dragonkin looks at you and chuckles. "Ah, No, something menacing, perhaps, if you're looking to create your own gang to rule the ruins of the Blue City.
Not quite what I had in mind. Looks up to
Durham's horse and friends. That's menacing.
Leon
Call him
gets
Ravinger.
I think finding an appropriate name does not need to be a priority right now.
Oh,
I mean, we're hardly trying to make a big name for ourselves. Actually, kind of the reverse.
well, now we have some places to go at least.
Yeah, so we should head to the ruins first then, I guess.
To the ruins first, yeah. To go to the Blood Drop crew.
The plan was to set up a base camp first. So.
Yeah.
Where would you like to go in the ruins? Jin Zeros will unfurl his map again and mark off the locations of the general areas where you could find the Hallowed Talons as well as the Blood Drop crew. Assuming that you would, if you do not wish him as a guide, you could attempt to find those locations yourselves. But that would not come freely.
I think it's good to have a guide.
I mean, it could be a spy for someone else, but I guess.
If so, then the directions aren't good either, so.
And there might be someone who just wants to know where we are and sort of keep an eye on us.
Maybe. Well, but look to Leon. The Leon thing is legit.
Yes.
No?
Leon has no reason to think he's not, looking up what he has here.
Alright, sure.
I suggest the Hallowed Talons then.
I mean, let's be honest here. If he was a guy who wanted to kill us, then the person he works for would know we're here, and then there are probably more people waiting for us.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you wish to visit the Hallowed Talons, Jinzirus could certainly direct you towards it. He'll remind you. A small gang of hobgoblins. They're fighting over a rather rough stretch of the ruins. It's it's not too badly located. There are certainly worse areas of the ruins. Ruins are fought over by the constables and various gangs, and there's some areas of the ruins that no one wants to fight over because of how dangerous they are. In this particular case, the Hallowed Talons used to be a larger group, including some goblins as well, but a recent set of wars has sharply pared down the numbers. On the flip side, however, the Hallowed Talons probably don't have much in the way of possessions or valuables. And anything that you acquired from them is probably going to still put you in the same war zone area that the Hallowed Talons are currently a part of. And Jin Zeros, he'll say, I'm not too familiar with all of the gangs that spring up, having recently spent much of my time with my devotions.
And then what exactly does owning something in this city legitimately mean? If we own legitimately a part of the ruins, does that even matter?
In that particular case, no one could come at you with a counterclaim that you don't own it legitimately. Many of the gangs which prowl around the ruins, they enforce their will rather than having it bestowed upon them. If you could both enforce and have it legitimately as well, it would be difficult to challenge your presence. Besides, the Blood Drop crew has a far more defensible position, and they're not currently located in a particular well-desired locale. Probably because of all of the defenses and fortifications Rylan has built there.
Although he'll probably make us do some nefarious deeds.
No, I think just a lot of money, and then the problem is that we are only 4 people. When we leave for the day, we might come back home and see our area fortified against us. We would need people to actually hold the place.
Yeah, I guess so.
Make our own gang in Drakkenhall?
Shrugs as it could have its uses.
Jim Zero shrugs. It could happen.
We infiltrate the blood drop crew and kill the leaders and take over.
That
That's
doesn't sound like something that would be easy to do.
Then since when did you guys become so violent?
Grim sort of looks at Leon, shaking his head slightly.
I suppose if you sweets have a death wish.
I wasn't really serious.
The real question is, how do we find, well, people willing to work for us?
That the dragonkin pauses in its walk and looks around. I imagine you could find all manners of sorts who would be desperate enough. Really, your best guess might actually be of all places, the slave market.
Huh.
We trade in the box.
No.
Yeah, how exactly would we pay anyone working for us? They wouldn't just work for us out of gratitude.
Well, gold.
We would pay them with money, yes.
We don't really have much of an income.
Exactly.
We've been doing pretty well these last couple of months.
Yeah.
How do you think the rest of the gangs get their money?
You want to turn to banditry?
No.
Like legitimate banditry? That sounds like what you're suggesting.
It really does.
The dragonkin says, well, if you're not too much into the various actions that gangs engage themselves in that you would know, they also do engage themselves in more legal matters as well. There's quite an extensive amount of interest in exploring the ruins beneath the city back when the monsters destroyed the sweet city Hyde Rock. There is so much that has been forgotten or left behind there that many people stake entire fortunes and lives on finding something big.
So I suppose we could, well, acquire this blood drop crew hideout, get some people to stay there when we're gone, and, well, they could then search the ruins as such.
The dragonkin shrugs.
Others do this successfully, yes.
So I have heard, though my former gang did not engage in such.
Well, still, whatever price these blood drop gang might want for their hideout, I don't know if that's something we can afford, can we?
We should ask them.
Perhaps.
I'm still considering, is it going to be worth it in the end for us, because considering we are going to have such a hard time trying to control it.
Well, if we have people in a fortified position, it's going to be, especially if it's also not a very attractive position, then I don't think anyone would really want to try.
Not really, no. It's not worth the risk.
Mm-hmm.
Blue City is about, like your Newport, opportunity. Individuals want the most opportune suites, not the least opportune. That is, in part, how the Blood Drop crew has remained a prominent and dangerous aspect of the ruins, while remaining relatively isolated and untouched. It is the cost of obtaining anything Ryland has. Don't let me stop you from talking. In-game, this trip is going to take like 2 or 3 hours of walking. Drakkenhall is huge, and the rubble is not convenient to trek through.
So the way I see it, we can either see if we can acquire this guy's place, like have an actual like group of people. We don't have to really be a gang as long as we have some people who can defend it. And well, you know, I guess cheap slaves are desperate enough for us to basically say, all right, you can live pretty well, like get food, not be beaten all the time. You know,
And it's sort of liberating the slaves as well. I agree.
Well, we are not allowed to liberate them. That's illegal. But,
No,
we,
but-
we're allowed to have them
Freedom
be
is
slaves
illegal.
who lives kind of like they're free.
Yes,
Yeah.
freeing a slave is illegal in Drakkenhall. You need a special dispensation from the Minister of Truth himself.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna literally free them, but it's sort of like freeing them, maybe.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. It's the closest we can legally get to it.
Yeah.
While still having them work for us.
Yeah.
Because if they run or betray us, then they're gonna get put back on the slave market, right?
So how much for a slave?
Well, the question is,
And we've gone faster buying slaves.
the question
this
is,
city,
do we
yeah.
really need a like permanent hideout though? I mean, we could just stay in the like tavern for like a week or two maybe, and then decide. It all kind of depends on what we end up wanting to do in Drakkenhall.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
we're
thinking
gonna-
that having people is also a good resource to have access to. Like, we
But
could
have-
stay in the ruins, staying like... This is basically, we're going over there to be out of sight, where nobody's going to come looking or sort of searching for us. And if we stay in the ruins, we might sleep in like a tower, and then suddenly like 16 ogres are like burning it down or something.
Yeah, we need more like a hideout than a huge base.
Say, Jin Zeros will advise that the closer you are to the Tower of the Blue, the more dangerous your life is. In the ruins, fewer people come looking for you to impose. If you're worried about, say, some official agents of the Three, being in the ruins is your best bet. Being underground would be better, and perhaps, you can get underground access in the ruins. There's certainly
That
plenty
sounds kind of
them.
nice.
That
Who knows,
does sound
maybe this Blood Drop crew has an access to the underground. Found another place. I certainly like the sound of a fortified location that nobody wants to mess with. I mean, that sounds pretty good.
But I mean, the Halatalons is already on the way. We can just go there and clear it out and then go to
And
this.
just kill all the gangs.
I mean, I don't really know if I want to
Yeah, Jin Zeros
enter
would
the war
advise,
zone
like,
area.
if you guys are having any doubts about whether you could defend one location, you're not going to be able to defend two.
Yeah, but
Like, if
just-
you kill all the hobgoblins and then buy the Blood Drop Crew gang's place, then you end up with two hideouts. You can't protect those both.
But then we do the
abandon
CK2
one of them.
thing. We get all the hideouts, and then we gift the ones we don't need to people who hate us, so they like us.
Blue,
It's genius.
here is this part of the ruins.
Yes, don't come after us. You can keep this instead.
yeah, we could like ally with the.
The problem here is that
Halatalons.
the blue would be your liege, and she's your heir, so she'd kill you.
Yeah.
Damn it!
Here.
That's just a minor flaw in
She
my
really
animation.
wants-
Speaking
That
in the
hideout.
language we understand.
She's very ambitious.
So are we, that's a bad sign.
With a lot of relationship penalty.
Let's be content for now.
There's a
like
very high
with this-
student
this little
increase in
blood
all
crew
any
place.
levels.
I'm certainly for buying the blood crew place, if possible. And then filling it with slaves, yeah, I can get behind that.
To answer your question on how much a slave can cost, that's what the slave market's there for. Jin Zeros has no fucking clue. Depends on the slave that you want.
Whatever we want. Whatever we're willing to pay, whatever shabby condition.
I mean, we can go there first and sort of see what
Old
this place
and with
is.
one limb left.
Yeah, my only concern about just meeting with the Blood Drop crew people might be that if we don't have the price they're asking for, they might just,
Kill us, yeah.
yeah, either that or they might be, hey, those people look funny. Let's try to sell the information that they're here. If we, for example,
First
got
off,
a
Jin Zeros will happily derail that. You look funny. This is the city of monsters, where lamias and vampires will openly walk the streets. You couldn't
I've-
remotely look funny if you tried.
I'm sure that a
paranoid. Give me
brooding
break.
dwarf on a pony will be
Yeah.
okay.
You know what we
Besides-
could do to potentially ensure success is find something worth trading with first, either money or something else. By, for example, going to the ruins first, getting something valuable, and then trading something.
But what would
Kill
we
the
get in
Hollow
the
Talons and get
ruins?
their stuff.
I don't know.
I mean, we have money, right?
Some of it, yeah. I don't know how much you will want.
No, we don't know.
I mean, there's no huge.
I mean, how
danger in
much is
just asking,
I mean, he
suppose.
wants to leave. That's the thing.
But I mean, we can go to the Hollow Talons first and get their stuff, and then we have more stuff to trade
But
with.
they don't really have
I don't
much
know they have
stuff,
much
do
stuff.
they?
They have some stuff.
I mean, we could go rampaging in there, but we might die.
Yeah.
I don't think. I think we
I-
should go and look at what kind of price he's looking at. If it's completely unrealistic, we can leave.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think he's gonna like be a maniac. We're like, you don't have money. Well, I'm fucking killing you then. Immediately for
Who
no
knows?
reason.
So I can
risking my
loot
life
your
to
lack
murder
of
you.
money.
Yeah, that seems to be a very. Maybe we're like, we have so much money. He's like, well, then maybe. But
Yeah, I mean, well, let's go and see what his price is.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think.
Okay.
I mean, hopefully he doesn't leave right as we sort of say yes. Kind of want to have time to go buy slaves as well. We come back with our slaves, and then it's full of hobgoblins. God damn it!
They just migrated
fast.
in the Hallow Talon. Just
God.
all right. The trek does take you into mid, perhaps even encroaching upon late afternoon. It is incredibly difficult to weave your way through the winding, narrow corridors, particularly whenever the road starts breaking up and it just turns into a whole mass of ruins. That and Genzeros does not take the most direct path, as he notes that while he has spent much of his time in meditation, he still does have some familiarity with where territories would be, and doesn't really seem it most prudent to lead his charges to death. Besides, Genzeros is trying to follow the tenets of the Goddess of Life and Mercy, and one of them is that he does not want to bring undue harm to other people by killing them.
Try to take note on the map on his route.
All
So
right.
perhaps later we could try to remember it.
Sure.
To not be murdered. That'd be great.
The ruined area is a mishmash, a really haphazard collection of buildings, brick and stone and all manners of repair. It's difficult to tell where one district ends, another one begins. It's difficult to say whether there's any sense or purpose to this at all. That does change, however, when you get to... It's not even so much as a street block, it's more along the lines of 3 buildings within what might have used to have been a long time ago a street block in High Rock, where the buildings are 1 story, and judging by the fortifications, basically to built up and a mixture of wood as well, sort of to create little fortified palace, palace areas, fortified murder halls. You even got an improvised ballistae or 2 that have been cobbled together, and Genzeros will point up with his talons to note the well-trained and practiced eyes of individuals who are watching from those holes, and say, "The Blood Drop crew gets its name for intimidation, extortion, and ruthless efficiency. They will allow passers through, and particularly whenever I do still have a little bit of a reputation, I hope. You won't be killed on sight, nor will you be killed just by speaking with their leader, so long as you do not insult him. But we will be noticed on our approach."
Alright.
That's probably the best.
Eyes everywhere. It is.
Yes. The gang is rather large. I couldn't say how many members. At least 24, perhaps? Certainly not all of them would be around at this time, but... The Dragonkin shrugs.